Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Walkthrough Wednesday. We're going to jump into a brand new series, which is Big Room from scratch. A few reasons for this. One, I've always wanted to do it. Two, the guys in the Discord voted for this. It was tied between this and Rave Room from scratch, so I decided to go for the Big Room one. Because of my next point, the Rave Culture live show, the Club Mythic show that W&W did, it was absolutely crazy. And I think it's going to do a lot for Big Room as long as those guys keep pushing this sound with rave culture and stuff. The sound is just going to keep getting stronger and stronger, and I think it is really developing into something new. The Big Room that you hear in that set is a lot different from the 2015 Big Room, so what we're going to try and do is make a Big Room track which has a little bit more of that 2021 flavor. So we're going to be looking at better fills. I think when you listen to the old stuff like Tsunami, for example, the fill would be like a Pride snare, but now what we want to do is try and take it up a little, take it up a notch, especially with the sound design as well. I've got something to promote, obviously, because I have to promote something. My new track with Ben Nicky is coming out on Friday, which is in 2 days' time, on W&W's label Rave Culture. It would mean a lot if you guys could support the track, stream it. It's obviously not festival season yet, so we need as many streams as possible. Help us, help this track stay relevant until this festival's open, basically. It's a really fun track. I mean, it's one of the first tracks that kind of launched the rave room sound for me. It's a very old school hard dance influence track with some 2021 processing and sounds and stuff like that. So it would mean a lot if you guys could support. As always, let me know if you want a sample pack for that one as well. What else can I promote? Yeah, I have a new selfie store, which the link will be in the description. I'm going to start dropping FLPs for you guys to just download. These are tracks that I will never release under my own name, so rather than just sit there on my hard drive, I'm going to release them to you guys because they're sick tracks. They're, you know, when I went through a bass house phase and when I went through progressive house phase, all of those files I'm going to give to you guys over on there, so you can buy them, use them however you want. If you release it the way it is, you best believe most people are going to try that, so I would stay away from that, but try and use the project to make something for yourself, and you can learn a lot from that as well. So the link will be in the description for that, and let's get into it because I can't wait for this. I'm also a little bit nervous because this is my this is literally how I started my career, basically. The reason I'm here doing this right now is because of Big Room. So it's been a while since I've really made a 132 track. I think the last one was the one with Blasterjaxx, Life is Music. This goes 132 as well, but that's a completely different style. So step one is going to be make a drop melody, because the reason Big Room tracks do so well is because the drop melodies are catchy. They're also a little bit cool and not too cheese. And that's what a label wants to see in this style. They're going to click for 1 second on your drop. If it's good, they'll check the break. If it's whack, they'll just go on to the next guy and reject his and just keep rejecting the track. So you want to get people's attention straight away with the drop lead. That's why we're going to start with it first. The breakdown melody will be easily comprised from this. We'll take the notes from the drop and just add chords underneath and make modifications. So that's going to be pretty easy as long as we get a good melody. Keys, it doesn't really matter. I always say go for the key of the sample you're going to use, the Big Room kick. So many Big Room kicks out there that's really sick. Trying to make one by yourself, you're never going to get close. Most people will not get close, right? So I like to use Big Room samples and just add layers on top of it. I think in terms of what are the best keys, I would say E, F, or G. You can go on the sharps if you want, but E, F, and G is probably my favorite. I would say F is probably the best. I'm the guy. I make tracks in A as well. Like I just don't care. You know, the one with Ben Nicky is in A actually, or A sharp, which is an odd key to use, I guess. But you know what? If I find a cool sample, FL Studio does not take well to stretching samples, so I like to just build around that sample. You know, if it was Ableton or something, I could just make it whatever key I want, but don't have those kind of luxuries. So we're going to start with the root note here, and then where do we go from here? Well, there is something I always use. I always count down with the notes. The best way to do it is count down. 1 note, 2, 3, 4. So the 4th note down and the 5th note down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. The 4th and 5th note down from your main note, so even if it's G, it would be those two. If it's F, it would be those two. This always sounds good together. So you'll notice that in the past, big room kicks would go like this. You notice how the pitch kicks would go up always to the 8th and the 7th note up. It's just inverted. It would be the 4th and the 5th. I think it's called the 7th note or something like that, but that's because some of these keys aren't actually in the scale. But because I learn in very simple ways, I like to just count down 1, 2, 3, 4. Even though there's one of those notes that the E isn't actually in scale or whatever, I just count down the actual notes on the keyboard. I just find it easier. But now by heart, I guess I know that the F goes really well with the C sharp and the C. So that's kind of what we're going to base it around. Lots of big room melodies use this. You'll actually go and download some MIDI files and you'll really learn that big room melodies always use the same notes because it's always got to have that same feel. So we're just going to mess around now, see what we can come up with. This one's not bad as a starting point. We're going to just move it over there and see if we can come up with anything better. Could also use some MIDI files. Let's put this back over there. Put it in the... Yeah, so it's already there. I'm going to insert a new one and try come up with something different. Let's have a look at some of the MIDI files from my sample packs as well. I actually have a new Rave Room pack, which is out on High Live. I did this Rave Room starter kit for you guys. It's got all these sounds which we will use. Also has MIDI files as well, so let's try some of these. Love those chords. Love those chords. Proper big room melody that. Could also do a triplet style drop, but instead of doing a triplet, we could just change the notes slightly. Boom. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I like this one as well. This is a nice little setup. We are using the C sharp and the C as always. You'll always get this. As I said before, the C and the C sharp always work well. It's in a different position, but we're still using those notes, right? And let's see if we can resolve this melody a bit. Great way to resolve it, ended on the root note. So also a nice option. Let's just take a listen and see what sounds best. I'm actually also going to go into step 2 in a second. Which is bring in a VST. Now we're going to want to find a lead here. So once you've got a cool melody, find a lead. Step 3 would be to process that lead. Step 4, try and find the kick and the bass and stuff, right? So let's find a lead that I like. That is just going to be a placeholder maybe. Can't decide what's better. Maybe we skip on to part 3 and actually get a kick and bass in there. Sometimes that can get a bit of inspiration as well. I have an idea on the kick and the bass. I want a punchy kick from Cashmere. I have used this one before, I believe. This one's got a great body and it's also got a nice like sharp top end, as you can hear. It's like tick, tick, tick. So that's going to work well. Let's stick a little sidechain on there. We're going to create a bus channel already. Let's just name this lead main. Horrible spelling. Lead main and lead main bus. So all I did there was link this main channel also to go through this. So I can add stuff on here, add stuff on here as well. And it's both going to be affecting that main sound. So we're going to make it purple for no reason, just like that, so you can see that both those are to do with the lead. I like to put my sidechain on at the end of my bus channel. So this one sounds weird because of the short notes, but let's try and flesh it out a little bit more so we can really decide, because I can't decide now which one would be better. So I think if that one's a little bit shorter, it might sound better. Or maybe we do that. Something that can help as well is getting a bit of reverb on the lead, just so you can try and imagine it how it will sound in a drop. This reverb is horrible, the stock reverb. But we'll just use it for now. We're going to miss a kick there. I'm going to miss the kicks there. So let's try and get our bass in so we can, again, try and understand how it's going to sound in the drop. Because I have an idea. I don't want to just put a big room kick in there. Well, I do, but I want to do it slightly different. I was inspired by one of the tracks in the W&W set from Carter. It's a new track, old school bounce inspired. So I'm looking for Jaden Jax. Shout out when you see it. Yeah, there it is. So Jaden Jax is Crime Scene, who's released on Stamped, and he made this pack when he was making Big Room. There's some sick samples in here. Like this one I really like. You can also try this one. And what I'm going to do is put it on the kick section. This one's also going to go on the kick section because I'm going to process in the same way and just see which one I like the best. So we're going to do that. Chop there, chop there. Okay, so we're going to stick our sidechain on. We're going to do some EQing and maybe try a little bit of distortion as well. But this is the preset I'm going to use. So instead of this, it's going to be an offbeat. So this is kind of more my style with the rave room stuff. It's offbeat bass. I really like that reverse bass in hardstyle, so I like to do a lot of bouncy stuff as well because I like my tracks to slam but also have a bit of a groove to it as well. So the low end in this is tighter, but I think that the top end in this is better. Now this one we're going to have to put down to E just because the sample is in E. Now I'm just trying to change it slightly. Oh, that's nice. Nah. Now I'm just messing around. This is once I've got a kick and a lead in there, now I'm starting to understand what is going to work best. For now, what we're going to do is just shorten this kick a bit. But I like the sound this has. Now this is more like it. This is much better, and this is just more big room and it's less cheese. Yeah, I like that, man. Bit more rave culture sounding as well, which is I know a sound that you all guys want to do because yeah, I love it as well. Like the watching in the W&W set, man, like the energy was crazy, and you wouldn't think that big room was being so as old as it is. You know, it feels like it's brand new. It's the same with anything. I mean, if Hardwell came back tomorrow and released a track with me and it was like a rave room track, you know for a fact a rave room would be like, oh, this is the next big thing. You know, once one of the big guys does something, people start to follow, right? And I think with W&W, who've been legends for ages, you know, when they're pushing a sound like this, you know, it's going to stay. It's going to be strong. So we've got this good bass right now. So the length of the notes needs work, I believe. So that sounded good. What we're going to do is just paste it over and try and make a variation on the melody. Because with this, you don't want to just repeat it over and over and over again, because it gets very boring. So we need to create some differences. Not liking this end, to be honest. And what we're not going to have is a big brass noise. Stay away from brass noises in 2021. Let's just try and resolve this a bit. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's proven quite hard to resolve this melody. I'm leaving a gap here because I want to have some nice fills, some cool fillers there. Let's concentrate on this part of the melody towards the end. And then we can draw a long note there, and that for now is good. I think by the time this series is finished, it's probably going to change, but when you're making a big room track, as long as you've got a good enough melody to start with, it's going to help with your creativity. It's going to help productivity as well, because if you can't find a good melody, you're not going to be inspired to go on and finish it and get something going, right? So we've got a basis right now. What we're going to do is just try and progress it a little bit, maybe think about the lead styles that we want to use before we go heavy on the processing, right? So right now I think the bass line's pretty cool. Let's process it a bit because some frequencies are a little bit off. I think I want to boost the mids quite a lot. Just making it mono there as well because I want to give my leads the stereo field. Don't want it to clash any of those frequencies, so I'm going to try and boost the mids of this bass as well. Maybe the kick's a bit long still. You want it to sound bouncy. It's hard to end this, man. I don't know why I don't really struggle with this kind of thing usually. So like this. So these little double notes are again just accents on the melody. You're just changing slight things. You're keeping the same notes, but you're just changing the rhythm slightly. Again, it can add energy. More notes, more energy. There we go. That's how you end it. So right now it's sounding a little bit weak, but I promise when the reverb and everything's good, it's gonna sound really cool. So let's jump onto the bus channel and let's add a reverb. Let's add the trusty preset. Turn the reverb off your VST if you're gonna add your own. So we've got our Arts Acoustic there. We're going to add our peak controller above it, and we are going to link the Arts Acoustic to that controller, so the controller will duck out the reverb whenever I play a note. You can see it's going crazy on the side. That's because the peak controller is detecting when there's a peak, and it will duck the reverb. So when a note plays, reverb goes. So for right now, that's fine. We're going to go and process the leads. I'm also going to try add a serum as well, because maybe we find a better lead, you know. This one is a very basic sound. It'll do a job, you know, in big room, as long as your breakdown has a good theme and it's unique. The drop can be a little bit more on the generic side because of the way the sound is, but we want to try some other sounds just to make sure. Now this might sound good with a pluck sound, so let's try a pluck. I'm pretty sure Cashmere Volume 2 has a pluck, right? Synth. In a synth shot. In a low octave, this might work. See, now that lead does not fit with the rest, so my theory is like, do I want to go for a big room lead, do I want to go for this plucky lead? It's a bit low, that. Also try this one. Now, by doing this, I can have more control in the piano roll, so I'm just saying how much of the sample I want to use. Gonna add in some claps now, just to again give that feel as if like what it will sound like as an actual drop, because right now it's very empty, so it's hard to judge if something has potential, but if you've got the rest around it, you can quickly judge if the potential's there. So we're gonna add some nice tight claps. Wrong thing. No, I don't want tonal balance control. What I want here is an EQ. Could also do a call and response thing. And then this part we could do something quite rave culture-y, I suppose. So let's clone this and call it lead only. Lead only. And then let's get rid of the plucks. Like that. So this will be the lead only. This is just an idea. I always try ideas, and if it works, it works, you know. So in this one, we're going to go back to that. I'm going to name this, we're going to clone it, and we're going to call this one pluck only. And then we're going to get rid of the leads. Like that. Boom. And then we can get the pluck in there.